Imagine a room so thick with tension you could slice it with a butter knife. It's the kind of pressure that makes your chest tight, where every word feels like a tightrope walk over a canyon. That's what's happening right now. In the penthouse suite of Chicago's Grand Meridian Hotel, a deal worth $4.8 billion hangs by a thread. Pinnacle Group, a powerhouse in sustainable real estate, is locked in a standoff with Sheikh Khalid Mansour, a Saudi investor with a fortune that could buy half the city. 3 days of negotiations, and they're nowhere close to signing. Voices rise, tempers flare, and the dream of transforming Chicago's skyline into a green oasis is slipping away. Why? Because no one can understand each other. Not really. Sheikh Khalid, a man with a sharp Oxford accent and sharper eyes, has just switched from English to rapid Arabic. His words come fast, laced with frustration, his hands slicing the air as he speaks to his advisors. The two translators hired by Pinnacle, both with fancy degrees and diplomatic resumes, look like they're drowning. They scribble notes, exchange nervous glances, and mumble half-hearted translations that miss the mark. The Sheikh's talking about voting rights in the deal's contingency clause, but the translators can't keep up with his northern Saudi dialect or the financial jargon. David Harper, Pinnacle's CEO, sits at the head of the table, his knuckles white, watching his biggest deal in 30 years crumble. 3 months of planning, millions in legal fees, and the promise of 5 city blocks reborn as a sustainable marvel. All of it's about to vanish. Harper leans forward, trying to salvage things. He's 52 years old, with salt and pepper hair and a reputation for closing impossible deals. He offers a compromise on profit sharing, his voice steady but strained. The sheikh shakes his head, his Arabic growing sharper, excluding the Americans entirely. Harper's stomach twists. He glances at his right-hand man, Mark Grayson, a 40-year-old executive with a chip on his shoulder and a habit of interrupting. Grayson's already muttering about walking away. The translators fumble again, and the sheikh's advisors, dressed in tailored suits, lean in, whispering urgently. The room feels like a pressure cooker ready to explode. Then a voice cuts through the chaos, clear, confident, in perfect Arabic. "If I may, Your Excellency." Every head snaps toward the sound. It's not coming from the polished translators or the high-powered executives. It's coming from the side of the room where a woman in a black and white housekeeper's uniform stands by the coffee station. Her name tag reads Elena. She's 31 years old, 5 feet 4 inches tall, with dark hair pulled into a neat bun. She's been invisible for 3 days, refilling coffee, clearing plates, blending into the background. Now she's addressing Sheikh Khalid directly, posture straight, her eyes steady. The room goes dead silent. The sheikh's eyebrows shoot up, surprise replacing irritation. His advisors stare, jaws slack. Harper's mouth opens, but no words come out. Grayson half rises from his chair as if to stop whatever breach of protocol this is, but Harper grabs his arm, curiosity overriding shock. Elena speaks again, her Arabic flawless, her tone respectful but firm. "I believe there's a misunderstanding about the contingency clause in Section 4.3. It's not about diluting your voting rights, Your Excellency. It's about shared benchmarks to protect both parties." The sheikh tilts his head, studying her. "You speak my dialect?" he asks in Arabic, his voice tinged with suspicion. Elena nods. "Yes, Your Excellency. I lived in Riyadh from age 10 to 18. My father worked for Aramco." The translators exchange humiliated glances. Harper's mind races. Who is this woman? How does a hotel maid know the intricacies of a multi-billion-dollar deal? The sheikh leans forward, intrigued. "And you understand this agreement?" Elena nods again. "I do. The translation has missed some key financial nuances." Grayson scoffs under his breath, but the sheikh ignores him. He gestures for Elena to continue. She steps closer, still holding a coffee pot, and begins explaining the clause in Arabic, her words precise, her demeanor unshaken. Harper watches stunned as the Sheikh's expression shifts from skepticism to engagement. For the first time in 3 days, the room feels like it's breathing again. Elena Morales, the housekeeper no one noticed, has just stepped into the center of a $4.8 billion negotiation, and she's not backing down. Maybe the most powerful voice in the room isn't the loudest. Maybe it's the one nobody expects. The penthouse suite of the Grand Meridian Hotel feels like it's holding its breath. Elena Morales, a housekeeper in a crisp black and white uniform, stands at the edge of a $4.8 billion deal, her words in flawless Arabic still echoing. Sheikh Khalid al-Mansour, the Saudi investor with a fortune that could reshape cities, leans forward, his sharp eyes locked on her. The room's silence is deafening, broken only by the faint hum of the air conditioning. Pinnacle Group's CEO, David Harper, sits frozen, his mind scrambling to process what just happened. A hotel maid, 5 feet 4 inches tall, 31 years old, with a name tag pinned to her chest, has just stepped into the most critical negotiation of his career, and she's making sense. Elena sets the coffee pot down, her movements calm, deliberate. She speaks again, her Arabic smooth as silk, addressing the Sheikh directly. Your Excellency, the contingency clause isn't meant to limit your fund's control. It's a safeguard, ensuring both sides agree on performance metrics, but the wiry man named Omar nods slightly, scribbling notes. The 2 translators hired for their diplomatic credentials slump in their chairs, their notepads abandoned. They've been outclassed, and they know it. Harper, 52 years old with a reputation for reading people, feels his pulse quicken. He glances at Mark Grayson, his second-in-command, who's gripping the table like he's about to snap it. Grayson, 40 years old, with a slick suit and slicker attitude, mutters under his breath, "This is absurd." Harper shoots him a look, quiet. He wants to hear her. The Sheikh, intrigued, asks Elena, "How do you know this deal so well?" His tone isn't accusatory now, it's curious, almost respectful. Elena takes a breath, her dark eyes steady. "I have a master's degree in finance from Northwestern, Your Excellency. I specialized in Middle Eastern investment structures. I worked at the Saudi Investment Bank for 3 years before returning to Chicago." The room shifts. Harper's jaw tightens. Grayson scoffs again, louder this time. But the Sheikh ignores him, leaning closer. "Why are you here, then?" he asks, gesturing to her uniform. Elena's voice doesn't waver. "Life doesn't always follow a straight path. After my father passed, I needed work that let me support my family and finish my doctorate at the University of Chicago." The Sheikh's eyes soften, just a fraction. He recognizes something in her, resilience maybe, or ambition tempered by sacrifice. Omar, his advisor, whispers something, and the Sheikh nods. "You worked on the Jeddah Coastal Project," he says, not a question. "Your risk models were impressive." Elena inclines her head. "Thank you, Your Excellency." Harper's mind reels. The Jeddah Coastal Project? A multi-billion-dollar development he'd studied in business school. This woman, who's been refilling his coffee for 3 days, helped shape it? Grayson can't hold back. "You're telling me you've been cleaning rooms while you're some kind of finance genius?" His tone drips with disbelief, bordering on contempt. Elena turns to him, switching to English, her voice even. "I've been in this suite for 3 days, Mr. Grayson. I've heard every detail of this deal. The translation errors are causing the tension. Your team's missing the Sheikh's concerns about governance, not profits." Grayson's face reddens, but before he can snap back, Harper raises a hand. "Let her speak." Elena returns to Arabic, addressing the sheikh. The clause in section 4.3 isn't about control, it's about shared accountability. Harper watches, a mix of awe and unease. He's built Pinnacle on precision, hiring the best, yet here's a housekeeper outshining his team. He clears his throat. Miss Morales, how did you end up here? It's a clumsy question, but he needs to know. Elena meets his gaze. The 2008 financial crisis killed entry-level finance jobs when I graduated. My father's death left my mother and sister depending on me. Hospitality offered flexible hours for my PhD program. Her words land like a quiet indictment, not just of Harper's oversight, but of a system that let someone like her slip through the cracks. The sheikh speaks, his voice softer now. You've been listening to us for 3 days? Elena nods. Yes, Your Excellency. I couldn't help but overhear. The translation issues were clear from day one. Harper feels a pang. 3 days, and he never noticed her beyond a polite nod. Grayson, still bristling, leans toward Harper. This is a liability, David. We can't let a maid run our deal. Harper ignores him, his eyes on Elena. She's not just a maid, she's something else entirely. The sheikh gestures to a chair. Please, Miss Morales, join us. Elena hesitates, glancing at her watch, a simple worn timepiece that seems out of place with her expertise. I have a shift to finish, Your Excellency, but I can stay for 30 minutes before my evening class. Harper jumps in. We'll handle that with a hotel. Please, help us. Elena nods, sitting cautiously at the table, still in her uniform. The room feels different now, like a storm has passed, leaving clarity in its wake. I wonder how many brilliant minds we overlook every day, hiding in plain sight, waiting for a moment to shine. The penthouse suite of the Grand Meridian Hotel hums with a new energy, like a storm breaking into sunlight. Elena Morales, 31 years old, sits at the conference table, her housekeeper's uniform a stark contrast to the polished suits around her. Sheikh Khalid al-Mansour, his sharp eyes now warm with curiosity, listens as she speaks in flawless Arabic, unraveling the knot of a $4.8 billion deal. David Harper, Pinnacle Group's CEO, watches in awe, his 52-year-old frame leaning forward, hanging on her every word. The translators, once the room's lifeline, sit silent, their notepads forgotten. But not everyone's on board. Mark Grayson, Harper's second in command, 40 years old and bristling with ambition, glares from across the table, his jaw tight. Elena's voice is steady, her Arabic weaving through complex financial terms like a thread through a needle. Your Excellency, the governance clause ensures mutual oversight. It's not about restricting your fund's authority, but about aligning incentives for the project's sustainability. The sheikh nods, his advisor Omar scribbling furiously. Harper marvels at how Elena makes the jargon sound human, bridging the gap between Chicago's corporate world and Riyadh's investment culture. For 3 days, this deal, meant to transform 5 city blocks into a green urban marvel, teetered on collapse. Now it's breathing again, thanks to a woman no one knows until she spoke. Grayson can't stay quiet. This is highly irregular, David, he hisses, leaning toward Harper. She's not vetted. She's not on our team. We can't trust a housekeeper with this. His voice carries, and Elena pauses, her eyes flickering toward him. Harper holds up a hand, his tone sharp. Mark, enough. She's doing what our translators couldn't. Grayson's face reddens, but he leans back, arms crossed. The sheikh, catching the exchange, raises an eyebrow but says nothing, his focus on Elena. She continues, switching to English for Harper's benefit. Mr. Harper, the sheikh's concern is about decision-making power in a worst-case scenario. In Gulf business culture, control often matters more than profit margins. Your proposal wasn't clear on that. Harper nods, scribbling notes. He's starting to see it. The cultural nuance he missed, the reason his compromise fell flat. Elena's not just translating, she's decoding a worldview. A soft voice pipes up from the corner. I found the revised clause. It's Sarah Coleman, a 28-year-old junior analyst at Pinnacle, 5 feet 6 inches tall, with nervous energy and a stack of documents. She's been quiet all week, overshadowed by Grayson's bluster, but now she slides a folder toward Elena. It's the governance section you mentioned. Elena smiles, a small gesture that seems to steady Sarah. Thank you, Miss Coleman. The room notices Sarah's not just fetching coffee either. She's been paying attention, and her support gives Elena a foothold. Elena flips through the folder, her fingers quick but precise. Here, she says, pointing to a paragraph in Arabic. This is where the translation went wrong. It suggests Pinnacle could override the fund's voting rights unilaterally. That's not the intent, correct? Harper shakes his head. No, we want shared control. Elena nods, turning to the Sheikh. Your Excellency, I propose rephrasing this to clarify mutual agreement on benchmarks. The Sheikh leans back, considering. You understand our priorities, he says, his voice carrying a rare warmth. Grayson interrupts, his tone sharp. Ms. Morales, with all due respect, you're not qualified to rewrite our contracts. The room tenses. Elena meets his gaze, unflinching. I'm not rewriting, Mr. Grayson. I'm clarifying. I've studied these structures for years. Her calm cuts deeper than any retort. Omar, the Sheikh's advisor, speaks up. She's correct. The current wording is ambiguous. Grayson's eyes narrow, but he's outnumbered. The Sheikh gestures for Elena to continue, and she does, her voice a steady anchor in the storm. As the discussion deepens, a crack in Elena's composure shows, not in her words, but in her hands. They tremble slightly as she adjusts her papers. Harper notices. She's been on her feet for hours, juggling this high-stakes role with her shift and classes looming. He leans toward her. Miss Morales, how much time can you give us? She glances at her watch. 45 minutes, Mr. Harper. Then I need to prep for my evening seminar. He nods, impressed by her discipline. We'll make it quick. Sarah, emboldened, passes Elena another document, her voice quiet but firm. This might help with the sustainability metrics. Elena's eyes soften. Perfect, thank you. The exchange is small but electric, a junior analyst and a housekeeper, two overlooked women, shifting the room's balance. The Sheikh watches, intrigued, as Elena incorporates the metrics, her Arabic flowing effortlessly. The deal's pulse strengthens, but Grayson's hostility lingers, a shadow over the progress. Harper feels a pang of guilt. 3 days, and he never saw Elena's potential. He thinks of his own daughter, 25 years old, chasing her dreams in a world that doesn't always see her. Elena's story hits closer than he expected. She's not just saving his deal, she's exposing his blind spots. The Sheikh, sensing the shift, speaks directly to Harper. Your team is fortunate to have such unexpected talent. His tone is pointed, and Harper nods, chastened. As Elena outlines a compromise, blending Pinnacle's performance goals with the Sheikh's governance needs, the room feels alive again. But Grayson's glare doesn't fade, and Harper knows this isn't over. Elena's stepping into a world that doesn't always welcome outsiders, and she's doing it with nothing but her mind and her voice. Maybe courage isn't loud. Maybe it's just doing what's right, even when the room doubts you. The Grand Meridian Hotel's penthouse suite feels like a chessboard, each move calculated, each player weighing their next step. Elena Morales, 31 years old, sits at the center, her housekeeper's uniform a quiet rebellion against the room's power suits. Her voice, steady in Arabic, weaves through the complexities of a $4.8 billion deal, tying together Pinnacle Group's ambitions and Sheikh Khalid al-Mansour's vision. David Harper, 52 years old and CEO, watches her with a mix of gratitude and unease. She's saving his deal, but the room's dynamics are shifting, and not everyone's happy about it. Mark Grayson, 40 years old, his face taut with resentment, sits like a coiled spring, ready to strike. Elena is explaining a revised governance clause, her Arabic precise, her tone diplomatic. Your Excellency, this adjustment ensures your fund retains veto power over major decisions, while Pinnacle's accountability metrics stay intact. The sheikh nods, his advisor Omar murmuring agreement. Sarah Coleman, the 28-year-old junior analyst, slides another document across the table, her quiet support a lifeline for Elena. Harper marvels at the unlikely duo, two women, overlooked by the room's heavyweights, now driving the negotiation forward, but Grayson's patience snaps. "This is ridiculous," he says, his voice cutting through the discussion. "David, she's a housekeeper, not a consultant. We're betting billions on someone who's been mopping floors." The words land like a slap. Elena pauses, her hand steadying on the table, but her eyes don't flinch. The sheikh's gaze sharpens, shifting to Grayson. "Mr. Grayson," he says in English, his tone icy, "Miss Morales understands our concerns better than your translators. I suggest you listen." Grayson's jaw tightens, but he leans back, silence for now. Harper feels the tension spike, a knot forming in his chest. He's seen Grayson's ambition before, ruthless, calculated, but this feels personal. Elena, unfazed, switches to English for Harper's benefit. "Mr. Harper, the Sheikh's team values long-term stability over short-term gains. The clause needs to reflect that priority." Harper nods, scribbling notes, but his mind drifts to Elena's story. She mentioned her father's death, her family's struggles. He senses there's more, pain she's not sharing. The Sheikh, perhaps sensing the same, softens his tone. "Miss Morales, you speak of family. May I ask?" His question is gentle, almost personal. Elena hesitates, her fingers brushing her worn watch. "My father was an engineer in Riyadh," she says in Arabic. "He died in a construction accident when I was 22. My mother lost her sight soon after, and my sister was still in high school. I came back to Chicago to care for them." The room stills. Harper feels a pang. His own daughter's face flashes in his mind. The Sheikh nods, his eyes distant. "I lost my brother to illness at a young age," he says quietly. "Family shapes us, does it not?" Elena's voice softens. "It does, Your Excellency." The exchange, brief but raw, shifts the room's energy. Omar, the advisor, speaks up, his tone warm. "Miss Morales, I recall your work at the Saudi Investment Bank. Your models for sustainable financing were ahead of their time." Elena inclines her head, a flicker of pride in her eyes. "Thank you. I learned much in those years." Harper watches, struck by the Sheikh's respect, the advisor's recognition. Elena's not just bridging a deal, she's bridging worlds. Grayson, however, won't let it go. "David, we need to discuss this privately," he insists, his voice low but sharp. "She's not cleared for this level of access." Harper's patience thins. "Mark, she's the reason we're still at this table. Drop it." Grayson's eyes flash, but he stays quiet, his resentment simmering. Sarah, emboldened, passes Elena another file. "This has the ESG metrics you asked for," she says, her voice steadier now. Elena smiles, a small gesture that carries weight. "Perfect, Sarah. This will help." Elena dives back in, her Arabic flowing as she outlines a compromise that balances the Sheikh's governance needs with Pinnacle's performance goals. The Sheikh leans forward, engaged, his advisors nodding. Harper feels the deal's pulse strengthen, but he also sees Elena's exhaustion, her shoulders tense, her eyes flicking to her watch. She's juggling a PhD, a family, and now this. He leans toward her. "Miss Morales, we'll cover your shift if you can stay longer." She nods. "I can give you 1 hour, Mr. Harper, then I have a seminar." A new voice enters, soft but firm. "Miss Morales is right about the ESG integration." It's Omar, the Sheikh's advisor, stepping in like a quiet ally. Her approach mirrors our fund's priorities. The endorsement stings Grayson, who glares but says nothing. Harper feels a shift. Omar's support, Sarah's quiet assistance, and Elena's expertise are rewriting the room's hierarchy. But Elena's past weighs on her. Harper catches her rubbing her watch, a nervous tick. He wonders what else she's carrying. Dreams deferred, sacrifices made. As the hour ticks by, Elena crafts a framework that satisfies both sides. The sheikh smiles, a rare sight. "You have a gift, Miss Morales," he says, "not just for finance, but for understanding people." Elena's composure holds, but her eyes betray a flicker of emotion. Gratitude, maybe, or relief. Harper feels it too. This deal, this moment, is bigger than contracts. It's about seeing people for who they are, not what they seem. The hardest battles are fought within, aren't they? Elena's fighting hers, and somehow she's winning ours too. The penthouse suite of the Grand Meridian Hotel buzzes with a cautious hope, like a city waking after a long storm. Elena Morales, 31 years old, sits at the heart of a $4.8 billion negotiation, her housekeeper's uniform faded into the background of her commanding presence. Her voice, steady in Arabic, guides the room through the final hurdles of a deal that could reshape Chicago's skyline. Sheikh Khalid al-Mansour, his sharp features softened by respect, listens intently as she outlines a compromise. David Harper, Pinnacle Group's 52-year-old CEO, feels the weight of 3 exhausting days lift, her quiet confidence growing. "This ties into the carbon-neutral metrics," Sarah says softly. Elena's eyes meet hers, a silent thank you passing between them. Harper watches, struck by how these 2 women, one in a uniform, one in a junior role, are steering a deal his high-paid team nearly lost. Grayson breaks the rhythm. "David, this is still a risk," he mutters, his voice low but biting. "She's not one of us." Harper's patience snaps. "Mark, she's the reason we're here. Sit down." Grayson's eyes narrow, but he complies, his resentment palpable. The sheikh, catching the exchange, speaks directly to Harper in English. "Mr. Harper, your colleague doubts talent when it stands before him. That is a mistake." His words sting, and Grayson's face flushes, but he stays silent. Elena, unfazed, continues, her Arabic calm and precise. "The clause now includes a joint oversight committee, ensuring both parties have equal say in key decisions." Omar leans forward, his tone approving. "This is elegant, Ms. Morales. It addresses our concerns perfectly." The sheikh nods, his earlier frustration gone. "You have a rare gift," he tells Elena. "You see both sides." Harper feels the deal solidify, the tension of 3 days dissolving into focus. But he also sees Elena's strain. Her hands, steady all day, now tremble slightly as she adjusts her papers. She's been on her feet for hours, balancing this moment with her life outside this room. Harper leans toward her. "Ms. Morales, we owe you. Would you consider a consulting role with Pinnacle for the rest of this deal?" Elena glances at her watch, the worn timepiece a reminder of her responsibilities. "I'd need to arrange my hotel shifts, Mr. Harper. I support my mother and sister." Her voice is even, but Harper hears the weight behind it. "We'll cover that," he says quickly, "and compensate you at a senior consultant's rate." Elena nods, considering. "I can help until the deal closes, but my Ph.D. comes first." The sheikh speaks, his voice warm. "Ms. Morales, my fund is launching a sustainability division in New York. We could use someone with your insight. Would you discuss a role after your doctorate?" Elena's composure flickers, surprise breaking through. "I'd be honored, Your Excellency." Harper, catching the exchange, jumps in with a wry smile. "Don't commit yet, Ms. Morales. Pinnacle might have an offer, too." The room chuckles, a rare moment of levity. Even Grayson's scowl softens, though his eyes still burn. As the meeting winds down, Elena finalizes the clause language, her suggestions seamlessly blending both sides' priorities. The Sheikh's team and Pinnacle's lawyers huddle, drafting the final terms. Sarah, now bold, suggests a minor tweak to the sustainability metrics, earning a nod from Omar. The deal, once on the brink, is now alive, its pulse strong. Elena checks her watch again. "I leave for my seminar," she says, standing. The sheikh rises, a gesture of respect that silences the room. "You've done us a great service, Ms. Morales," he says. "We'll continue tomorrow if you're available." Elena nods. "After my classes, Your Excellency, 2:00. Harper stands too, extending a hand. "Thank you, Ms. Morales. We'll handle things with the hotel." She shakes his hand, her grip firm, her eyes steady. As she leaves, the room feels emptier, like a stage missing its star. Grayson mutters something, but Harper ignores him, his mind on Elena. She's not just saved the deal, she's rewritten what he thought was possible. 6 months later, at the groundbreaking for the Chicago Green Horizon project, Harper stands beside the sheikh, cameras flashing. The deal is hailed as a triumph of global partnership. But Harper's thoughts drift to Elena, now Dr. Morales, who's accepted a director role with the project. Her journey from invisible housekeeper to indispensable expert lingers in his mind. He wonders about her sacrifices, her strength, and the system that almost buried her talent. Sometimes one moment can redefine who you are. Elena found hers, and it changed everything. The Chicago skyline glitters outside the Grand Meridian Hotel, but inside, the penthouse suite is quiet, the storm of negotiation long past. 6 months have passed since Elena Morales, 31 years old, turned a failing $4.8 billion deal into a triumph. The Chicago Green Horizon project broke ground today, its promise of sustainable urban renewal splashed across headlines. David Harper, Pinnacle Group's 52-year-old CEO, stood beside Sheikh Khalid al-Mansour, shaking hands for the cameras. But the real story, the one the press didn't capture, was Elena's, a housekeeper who became the linchpin of a landmark deal. Now, Elena Dr. Morales, after defending her dissertation, sits in a corner office, her new title Director of Sustainability Integration etched on the door. The room smells of fresh paint, the view framing Chicago's riverfront. On her desk, a small package waits, wrapped in elegant paper. Inside, a sleek pen rests in a case, its surface inscribed with Arabic calligraphy. A note in the sheikh's precise hand reads, "To the one who saw clearly when others did not, may your vision shape the future." Elena smiles, placing the pen beside her laptop. It's a reminder of that day when her voice broke through the noise. Harper visits her office that morning, his suit crisp but his demeanor softer than before. "Dr. Morales," he says, a hint of awe in his voice, "you've made this project more than a deal. It's a legacy." Elena nods, her dark hair now loose, her housekeeper's uniform replaced by a tailored blazer. "Thank you, Mr. Harper. It's a chance to build something lasting." Her words are measured, but her eyes shine with purpose. She's no longer invisible, no longer just the woman refilling coffee. She's a leader, seen and heard. The journey wasn't easy. Lena spent those 6 months balancing her PhD, her family, and the demands of a new role. Her mother's health, fragile since her father's death, required constant care. Her sister, now in college, leaned on Lena's support. The consulting fee from Pinnacle, equivalent to a year's hotel wages, eased the burden, letting her cut back on shifts. But the real shift was internal. Elena had spent years feeling unseen, her talents buried under necessity. That day in the penthouse when she spoke up, she reclaimed her voice. It wasn't just about the deal, it was about proving to herself, to the world, that she belonged. Harper lingers, his expression thoughtful. "I misjudged you, Dr. Morales. We all did." His admission is quiet, raw. Elena meets his gaze. "Most people do, Mr. Harper, but it's not about blame. It's about seeing what's in front of you." Her words echo in the silence, a gentle challenge. Harper nods, then leaves, his steps slower, as if carrying her truth with him. As Elena prepares for her first executive meeting, she thinks of the hotel staff still working below, cleaning rooms, serving meals, their stories untold. She thinks of Sarah Coleman, the junior analyst who believed in her, now promoted to a lead role. She thinks of the Sheikh's kindness, Omar's support, even Mark Grayson's eventual grudging respect. The deal changed them all, but it started with her courage to speak. Lives are full of invisible people, baristas, janitors, drivers, each with dreams and talents waiting for a moment to shine. Elena's moment came, and it reshaped her future. So here's a question for you. Who's in your world, unnoticed, carrying a spark that could change everything? Look closer. You might be surprised by what you find. I'll never forget that sometimes the quietest voices carry the deepest truths.